What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. And in today's video I'm going to be looking at how you can hit your personal bests. So if you go to the gym or if you work out, there's a high chance that you have some goals in mind, and one of those goals might be trying to lift a certain weight. Now, hitting personal best isn't easy. People struggle for months and months, weeks on weeks, to try and hit those numbers and trying to lift that weight. But it can be possible, and I feel that I've got some tips that I can use, and I can tell you to give you some advice to help you out. So I've recently hit two of my personal bests. The first one, which was about a week or so ago, was my personal best with my deadlift. I think my deadlift was 180, so I lifted a lot heavier than I had done previously. And the second one, which I hit today, was squats, and my squats I hit 140. So I'm going to get into this video and I'm going to go over my top tips for how you can hit your personal best. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so my first tip in sort of getting you to hit your PBs is using a sort of method of training called progressive overload. Now, I'm not really going to go into what progressive overload is into much detail. There are plenty of other videos that you can look at on YouTube that will give you more information about it. But in short, progressive overload is over a period of time building up the resistance or the amount of weight that you're using so that you are improving and you're lifting heavier. Now, progressive overload could be the physical amount of weight. So let's say you're squatting. If you normally squat 100 kilos, rather than going and every week squatting the same amount, one week having 100 and then adding 2.5 kg on either end. So now it's 105 kilos and squatting with that. And then the next week you could potentially bump it up by another 5, so you're squatting with 110 kilos. And over time you'll gain more strength and you'll be hitting more personal bests every single week. The other way of doing progressive overload is by quantity. So if your 1 rep max is 100 kilos, drop that back a little bit and try and complete more repetitions, and you will increase the amount that you can lift over time. Now, this is very valuable, but if you're looking to lift a lot of heavy weight, or you're trying to hit that PB of hitting that heavier weight, then the weight is almost more your priority than the amount of times that you can lift it. But either way, they're both going to be improving your strength, which is going to ultimately get you to that PB. Okay guys, so my next piece of advice, and something that's helped me out quite a lot, is to do with the amount of sets that you perform at the given exercise that you're trying to achieve your personal best at. So with me, it was always squats. So with squats, I will obviously do the warm-up sets where you're starting off with a much lighter weight and getting your legs sort of warm. And then if you're hitting your set that you're comfortable with, so let's say that's 100 kilos. If at 100 kilos you're quite happy doing sort of 10 repetitions within that set, instead of going up in small increments until you sort of are finally on that final set, which would potentially be your PB, do bigger increments but do less repetitions. So what I always used to have the problem with is, let's say I was squatting 100 kilos really well, good form for 10 repetitions. If my goal was to then put another 20 kilos on the bar, what I would do is I'd start off by putting another 2 5 plates on, then squatting another like 8, then another 2 5 plates on, squatting another 8. And between hitting what I'm comfortable with and my personal best was like 4 sets, which worked out to be about 40 reps. Now if you think of how much volume that is, that's an awful lot of volume for your legs. So actually by the time you have sort of your PB on the bar and you want to try and get that, you've already exhausted your legs quite a lot. So what I suggest is, when you are building up to that PB, build up with slightly larger increments, but drop the amount of repetitions you're doing, because it means that when you actually come and you have that heavy weight in front of you, first time you're going to try and lift it, your legs should have a certain amount of go in them, and you've not completely exhausted them, and you should be able to give the PB your best attempt. My next piece of advice, guys, is not to feel discouraged or disheartened. So hitting PBs is quite a big thing, and especially when you've been lifting for quite a while, hitting a personal best is potentially going to involve you lifting quite a considerable amount of weight. And what's best to do is not to like push yourself to try and pick up that weight or squat that weight or bench press that weight, because if it just means that you're going to potentially injure yourself or put yourself in a risky situation, then you're best to not go for it and then hit it in a week or two's time or in a month's time and feel a lot more confident doing so. I'm sure there are many people that have injured themselves attempting to do a personal best just because on that day they weren't ready for it. In actual fact, my personal best in my deadlift was on a day that I didn't think I was going to achieve much. It was a fairly flat day for me all in all. I just walked in the gym not expecting anything, and the lift felt really good. And I went for the heavy weight and I got it. So yeah, just be smart with your training, and like I say, don't be disheartened if you go in one day thinking that you're going to try and hit your PB and the weights feel so much heavier, because you may well find that on another day when you're not really feeling it, actually the weights feel a lot lighter and you hit it. So just hang in there. Right guys, so my last sort of piece of advice or tip for you if you're trying to hit your personal best is all to do with a few bits of equipment that could really help you. So the first piece of equipment that I'm going to sort of show you is a training belt. It's one of these. Now you can get these in a whole variety of different places. This one I got off of Amazon. I will link to what I think are potentially a couple of good ones in the description, so go and check them out if you haven't already. It's a fairly simple training belt, nothing particularly complex to it. It has got a simple sort of buckle system, so it's got these two simple buckles that you just strap in, so when it's around your waist you put it on very much like a normal belt, and it clips into the buckle holes like so, and you've got yourself a nice lifting belt. You can also get ones now that have a clip on the front. I haven't personally tried one, but if you have, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below if you think that you like them or not. But these are really helpful. Basically, if you've never seen one or you've never used one before, what they do is it's got a nice padded back support. Okay, you tie this bit at the front where your stomach is in a nice position where you feel comfortable, and it just gives you additional core support. So if you're doing a squat and the squat's quite heavy, it takes that pressure out of your lower back, especially if you're more inclined to sort of allow your form to go a bit funny and you lean forward a bit more, or you put a lot of pressure through your lower back. This basically allows your stomach to push the back, and it just provides you with a little bit more support. This has done me absolute wonders for my squats. I feel so much more stable, and it should just be a staple of your gym bag if you are someone that lifts heavy weight, and especially if you're someone that squats. So the next thing, guys, and this is mostly for my squat, is some sort of knee supports. Now I just picked these up. They're pretty cheap. They only cost me like a couple of £. I potentially will get some sort of better ones in the future, especially if my squats continue to get bigger. But all they are is that there's some simple sleeves that you stick over your knee, and it's like a compression. You can get sort of Velcro tape ones that you strap around your legs, but it just gives your joint support. So it doesn't actually affect your muscles or anything. It just provides support, because obviously if you can imagine your knees, your ankles and your hips, there's going to be a lot of pressure going through those joints when you're doing your squats and your deadlifts. So just providing them with a little bit of support means that you've got more comfort and more balance throughout your movement, and it's just something that will really help you. So honestly, I felt a massive difference when I wore these. So again, link in the bio, I'll put some links in for some sort of knee supports, so go and check them out if you haven't already. So the next thing that I would definitely recommend you picking up are some sort of these deadlift straps, or these help straps. These are super cheap. Again, as with the others, I will put links for all of these products in the description, especially from like the Amazon ones. It's a simple piece of material, like you can see. It's got a hoop at one end, and all you do is you thread the end of it through, like so. You go, you put your wrist in it, like this. And then when you approach the bar, you wrap this loose end around the bar, and it just means that it alleviates some of the pressure in your grip. If you're lifting really heavy deadlifts, or if you're doing heavy rows, obviously you're going to be using an awful lot of grip strength, and when you're trying to lift that heavy weight, if your grip starts to go, it's really not ideal. The other thing that you can pick up, which I also use, which is really useful, it's not really useful if you're going to be using these as well, but that is like a liquid chalk. You can get normal chalk to use on your hands, but it requires you taking a container around with you, whereas the liquid chalk just comes in a little bottle. And the liquid chalk is really good, especially if you're avoiding using straps and you want to do it just freehand, because it assists with your grip. Again, it doesn't alleviate the pressure in your grip because you need to grip still, but it increases the friction and therefore it prevents your hands from slipping. So again, really good products to use. Now, the final thing that I'm going to show you is ideal for if you're trying to hit shoulder presses or if you're trying to hit chest press, and this is a simple wrist strap. These don't actually attach to the bar, but they just give you support in your wrist, especially if your wrist is bent back like so when you're doing your lifts. You could even use these for a front squat, especially if your wrists are coming under. All it is it's a simple elastic strap thing that you've got here. You put your hand on it. It's normally got a thumb strap support thing, and then you just tie this round like so, and it just secures your wrist in place. They're really good, like I say, especially if you've felt that after doing some chest presses or whatever, you've got some pains in your wrists. It could be because your wrists aren't supported enough, and something like this could really help. Okay guys, so that's basically me wrapping this video up. I'm going to play a clip in a minute of me hitting my PB on my deadlift. I'm aware that the my form isn't that good, and I have since had some advice, so before you all start throwing comments out in the comment section, I'm very aware that I ran my back too much in it. But it is me attempting it, and I hit it for 2, which I'm quite impressed with. I wasn't even going to consider trying to put any more weight on it, although I did hit it for 2. The second one was quite a lot worse than the first one. And I got some tips from a powerlifter, a friend of mine who's a powerlifter, and he gave me some advice. So, have a look. Right guys, so there you go, there it was. There you see me hitting my deadlift PB. I've now got a target of hitting 200 kg. This will sort of improve as I sort my form out and as I feel comfortable lifting that weight. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video guys. I hope that you took something away from it. All of the items that I showed you that I think might help you with your lifts can all be seen in the description box below. Basically, if you look on Amazon, you can get some pretty good deals on a lot of those products, and none of them are particularly that expensive. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you subscribe for more content. I do a whole variety of different videos on here, from fitness to style, lifestyle, vlogs, all sorts of different things. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like, comment if you have anything that you want to say, and until next time guys, see you later. Bye.